Guerrilla Ideas. This is a website. So Flickr is owned by Yahoo. It has an enormous amount of traffic. If you've got great property photos, it's just a great way for people to discover your project. Wikipedia, we talked about. You can add, this is one of the top ranked sites on Google. When you add your development, do your project, add your developer story. This really makes a big difference. YouTube, we talked about. It's very easy to add things to YouTube. If you don't know how, ask a 12-year-old and they can do it for you. That's who adds all these videos to YouTube every day. Mayor of Carmel, Indiana, talked about our project. We've had the chief of police talk about why this area is the safest part of this. We will go get those third-party endorsements. And it's amazing. It's not hard to get mayors or chief of police to do this kind of stuff. We had Brian Tracy, I don't know if you saw the last video. He's one of the top-selling motivational guys of all time. We had Brian Tracy. We didn't pay him. He got on a plane, flew to Phoenix, Arizona, spent a day. He shot all the stuff for us because we asked him to. It's amazing what you can do to get that endorsement, okay? So I would say between PR, getting some nice people to say nice things about you, and if you get some high-profile people, that's your best way to get credibility. But get it onto the web, because if they go into Google and they read all this bad shit about you, you're in deep trouble. So the more good stuff you can feed Google, and you can get that, and you can get the negative stuff pushed down. And again, we've had our share of developers that we had to do this for. It's not easy, but it works. New thing, and if we're here a year from now, you'll all know about it, but I'm just going to give you a preview of what's happening. The problem with email is we all have layers and layers of spam filters. You have a spam filter, your ISP has a spam filter, your corporation has a spam filter. There's layers and layers of spam filters. The problem is, even if somebody legitimately gave you their email address and you're their best friend, you can't get your email to them anymore. Every day, I get a call from, I didn't get your email, or you didn't get my email. Like, we all have those conversations, right? And it's true. They're not making this stuff up. There's so many layers of spam filters. So there's something called RSS. What our RSS is, you can add an RSS feed to your website. So when people look at your website, they can click on this button called RSS, and all of a sudden they've subscribed to your RSS feed. What that means is every time you update something to your website, you add new content, you put something new, that feed will go directly to that person's computer. There's no spam filters, there's no, all those things where email fails are gone. This is a big part of the research that people miss. They're not spending enough time on their competitors' websites. If you're doing a project in Turks and Caicos, and you're competing against 10 other Turks and Caicos projects, your website has to be at least as good as those other projects. It doesn't necessarily have to be better, but you've got to at least go feature to feature against those guys. Because if you don't think that your prospect is searching the other Turks and Caicos websites, then you're retarded. Because that's exactly what they're doing. If you've got a project in Charlotte, if you don't think that they're going to go search the other 5 or 10 projects like yours in Charlotte, it's retarded. You have to be at least as good. I'm not saying you've got to be the best, but you've got to have a feature by feature. If they've got weather charts, if they've got MapQuest, if they've got this, you got to have, if they've got all the schools and they've got this info in the hospital, you better have all that stuff. So you better spend some time on your competitors' websites, and you've got to be at least at their level. Obviously, if you're better, you're going to do better, but if you're not at least as good as your competition, it's a big mistake. There's something called Alexa, okay? Anyone familiar with Alexa? Alexa is owned by Amazon.com, and you can type in somebody's website, and it'll tell you it's all public, guys. It'll tell you where their traffic is coming from, how many visits they have, where they rank in terms of stuff. So all of a sudden, you're doing some incredible competitive analysis. We're going to say there's many, many ways to skin this cat. There's radio, there's TV, there's online, there's direct mail. Guys, they're all great. Okay, people don't spend $4 million for a 30-second ad on American Idol because it doesn't work. Okay? But unless you've got Coca-Cola's budget or your Ford, it's probably not a good idea if you're a real estate developer. So I'm not saying that any of these things are bad. They're all great. But I'm saying if you're in the toughest market that we'll ever see and you're slugging it out, you better be efficient. And efficient, in my opinion, is online. And I think that Google is probably your best bet if you're going to make one bet. So, again, these are all great tactics. They've all worked in the past. We've used them all. But if you're going to make one bet, online is very good. And if you've got a great direct mail list, if you're using unique URLs, as we talked about, it's probably a good idea. AT&T is going to announce a big 3G thing. And 3G is coming here. It's already big in Europe. Here's where it's going to help you. If you've got a great video for your project, you're going to be able to go onto YouTube from your cell phone, and you'll be able to watch video. So the first thing is 3G really enables video, and that's really the big benefit. And it's high-speed internet. But why do you want high-speed internet? So you can have video. So I would say the best thing you could do is create more and more of your marketing with video testimonials, videos, because as 3G comes, not only do they have to put their DVD in their DVD player in their computer, they can watch your video on their handset. So here's what happens: they drive up to your project, or they walk up to your project in Mexico, and they can go log in onto a website. Boom, they're watching your video as they're standing in front of your site signage or in front of your building. So we're like literally months away from that happening. How do you prepare for it? Have videos, get them on YouTube, get them on Google, because they're still going to use Google to search it. Believe me, they're still going to go to Google first, and then Google will have the video there. Okay, so that's how you prepare for 3G.